Hello and welcome to FTTR. I am Ewan McQuaid and this is the first video in what will hopefully be a long running series on this channel, which is my relationship with. So today we're going to be discussing my relationship with the biggest wrestling company in the world, WWE. Yeah. So first of all, where to start with WWE? So I got into wrestling probably a lot later than a lot of people. I sort of got into wrestling at about the age of 10, and this was in 2008 when I properly got into wrestling. But a lot of people in sort of the same year group as me, they all got into it sort of 2005, 2004. So they were all into Triple H, John Cena, sort of the ECW style that WWE had adopted for that very, very small amount of time when they were doing the one night stand pay-per-views and stuff like that. So what really spurred me into watching was, I don't know if anyone can even remember this, but on Sky One there was the WWE Experience every Sunday, I believe. And it was basically just a highlight show of what had happened on Raw and what had happened on SmackDown. And I used to watch that every Sunday. And my parents didn't like it. They didn't like wrestling. They probably still don't. But it was my sort of gateway into that world. And what really got me hooked was one man named Jeffrey Nero Hardy. And at this point he had just won the WWE Championship. He won it at Armageddon, I want to say, in the triple threat against Edge and Triple H. So he sort of captivated me every time I watched it. He was enigmatic, he was the charismatic enigma, and he was just cool. He was the coolest person on the roster at that time, and that eventually led to him losing the belt at Royal Rumble against Matt. Well, not against Matt. Matt turned on him. Edge won the belt back. But that leads into another way I got into wrestling, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion to anyone who's a wrestling fan that's watching this. One of my favourite nostalgic manias of all time is Mania 25. So I could probably run down that card if I wanted to. It probably has my favourite Money in the Bank. It has my favourite Jeff match, maybe, because I really like the one against Matt, the Extreme Rules one. He hits him with a Hoover. That's enough said. It has the weird triple threat Big Show, Edge, John Cena, Vicky Guerrero in there, and I kind of forget the main event. Randy Orton, Triple H. Yeah, let's push that to one side. But it also has Michaels and Undertaker. And sort of that period of Mania 25 to Mania 26 is when I was fully engrossed in WWE main roster product. Because that then told the year-long story of Michaels trying to get his rematch with The Undertaker, which happened at Mania 26. And yeah, so what really, how do I put this? What really got me into WWE? I think at that time, a lot of people can say the product wasn't its best, but I think the highs were so high that it remains one of my favourite eras of wrestling. It has some of my favourite moments. For example, Jeff, the Undertaker story. One of my favourite moments ever is Shawn Michaels super kicking Triple H in the Triple Threat at Survivor Series. And then that leads into my favourite match, maybe ever. And that is the 2010 Royal Rumble, because it just has everything. It's full of stars. Michaels, Triple H, Batista, Edge, Jericho, Cena, Punk, to name a few. It has moments. The showdown between Triple H, Michaels and Cena is brill. Absolutely amazing. And the winner was the right winner, Edge. We all like that. It's not... Well, I suppose in recent years they've turned that around. We do like the Royal Rumble winners. But there was a point where, you know, Roman, Randy... yeah. And that then led to Mania 26, which isn't great. It's okay. I don't hate it. Jack Swagger won Money in the Bank. Jake Hager. No. But yeah, that's the part that really, really got me into professional wrestling. One of the other features, and this is going a bit off topic of WWE, but at the same time, because we didn't have Sky Sports, which is where you could watch proper, like full shows, full Raw and SmackDown. So on Bravo was where TNA was being shown. And we were able to watch Bravo because it had Takeshi's Castle on it, which was probably better than professional wrestling. If I could do a YouTube channel on Takeshi's Castle, I probably would. Maybe that's an idea for the future. But watching Sting, Christian, Styles, Daniels, Joe, all these, that was sort of like what got me into the work rate side of professional wrestling. Because they were having absolute bangers. Maybe WWE wasn't having the top tier matches, but Impact were having some quality matches, and that's what really got me into the work rate. Whereas WWE, particularly the Jeff Hardy, CM Punk, and the Michaels Undertaker side, really got me into the storyline aspects. Now, as with everyone, there is always a lapsed fan period. And mine was pretty long, so I kind of fell out of wrestling after Mania 26. I didn't really keep up. I sort of kept up with, you know, The Rock coming back and stuff like that. But really, it was sort of between Mania 27 and Mania 32, because I watched Mania 32, if I remember correctly. I tried to watch that live, poor me. And that period was, some people say it had some of the best stuff. It had the Shield, it had Punk, it had the Summer of Punk. I just missed out on the Summer of Punk and Money in the Bank 2011. But yeah, what really got me back into wrestling was not only the getting into sort of like wrestling YouTube, you know, your Wrestle Talk, Rock Culture, Cultaholic, etc. But it was hearing about NXT being that good. And I know I wanted this video to be solely about main roster, but what really got me back into wrestling was NXT, because I'd heard it was amazing. And then I watched Takeover. The Takeover in 2017. I can't recall which one it was. I want to say it was Brooklyn. I think it was Brooklyn. If not, correct me, or I'll correct myself. With Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Roode and the Undisputed Era. And the Undisputed Era come in and they debut. That was my first exposure to the Undisputed Era. And it was brilliant because the matches it combined the stories and the matches that I loved as a kid from both sides of Impact and WWE, and it put it into this one nice little bubble of NXT. And I'm going to do a video purely on my relationship with NXT, so I'll try not to get too into that. But what also really got me back is, I believe, the takeover after that was when... No, it was 2 takeovers later, I think, was Gargano Almas. And I just started watching NXT as the Johnny Gargano story was starting. And I lived for NXT for those sort of three years, up to a point when Johnny won the title. And that was brilliant because that just it got me so into wrestling again. It was like the fan had been awoken inside of me, and really, I just fell in love with the sport again.